Percy Jackson and the Olympians. It's been too long since I talked about this. Alright, about 2 weeks ago, out of nowhere, the series got a sudden burst of relevance again due to pretty much everyone acknowledging that the movie portrayals and tie-in game were really bad and honestly damaged the reputation of an extremely good series. Let's be honest. The only good thing from the movies was the discovery of Alexandra Daddario. Woo! Good lord. That is a beautiful woman. Anyways, back on track. 2 years ago, I touched upon the series in 2 different videos. One explaining why Percy Jackson deserved an anime/cartoon, and the other trying to vouch specifically for a video game to be produced by Square Enix. Now, to this day, I still believe the anime cartoon route is the most logical and probably the best option, but I would still be really interested in what a potential game could look like. Now, those 2 years ago, I was biased towards specifically Square Enix because they were and still are my favorite video game company. In fact, in the survey Square conducted recently, I pretty much typed an extremely detailed plan on why they should make a Percy Jackson game and what it could potentially look like. I was really going ham in that survey, in that comment box. But during those 2 years since the last video I've made, I've come to appreciate other games from other developers and companies as well. And looking back, I don't think Square Enix necessarily has to produce the games, although I think they do a top tier job. So why make a game? The series hasn't been relevant, for quite a while, or super relevant, I should say. And at this point, it's more or less just nostalgic for those who grew up reading it, like something you bring up in conversation like, oh, remember Percy Jackson? Oh yeah, I love that series. Well, the sudden resurgent burst of relevance that the series had not that long ago really made me confident that a game would not only sell well, but resurge the interest in the series, because Percy Jackson and the Olympians is a series in itself, but there are other series Rick Riordan has done to tie into it, like the Heroes of Olympus series, and I think they're doing some Norse mythology series, which I don't think ties in directly into Percy Jackson, but they have the Egyptian series as well. So he has other series that are just as quality and are just as good. So I think it could really bring interest into that. Right now, all kinds of iconic characters in series are returning. We got Crash, Spyro, Mewtwo, Broly, Kill la Kill, every cut Smash Bros. Character. You get my point, okay? I think Percy Jackson is definitely more than deserving of finally getting proper representation of the books in different forms of media. But today, we're just gonna talk games. Now, like I mentioned earlier, if I still had to personally pick a company to produce the games, I'd go Square Enix, mainly because of their current relationship with Disney, who I'm pretty sure owns the series along with Rick Riordan, and they have lots of experience when it comes to the gameplay I envision for the games. But again, there are other quality companies out there that would also do a great job. So if you envision a different company, definitely drop that in the comments, okay? Whoever produces the games, though, would already have a head start in terms of development. The story, it's already set. The characters already have their appearances very detailed, and the locations and bosses are already highlighted within the story. Now, there is some hard parts, okay? There are a few hard parts. The major hard part I want to highlight right here that I see from my end, other than having to convince Disney to allow the production of the games, is that the company would have to be willing to produce 5 games based on every book, right? You have the Lightning Thief, you have the Sea of Monsters, the Titan's Curse, Battle of the Labyrinth, and the Last Olympian, right? You have to be able to produce 5 games, and each new game would essentially have to be just as good, if not better, than the last, while also adding different things to keep it unique from each other of its counterparts. Now, that is no small task, okay? But with the right amount of effort, it could definitely work. Now, as far as gameplay goes and how I see it, there's a wide array of choices you really could take. I'm gonna go really basic here and say I think the Kingdom Hearts Final Fantasy route would be best, but a new or unique style would also be interesting. If you do take the Kingdom Hearts Final Fantasy style, what they would have to do is create a new lackey type of enemy, because in the actual stories there aren't many of them, kind of like just small enemies to oppose you along the way. They would have to create those, but through defeating the lackey enemies and other bosses, what they could do is have a level up system in which you gain EXP, allowing you to upgrade abilities and unlock new ones, and strengthen Riptide and other weapons through their stats and other effects. And in the case of Lightning Thief specifically, in terms of the layout of the game and more or less exploration, you would control Percy through each location while also having access to Grover and Annabeth. But whichever two you wouldn't be using would just become, your party members. Now listen. I'm gonna stop right there in terms of detail on why this game could really be something great and what it really could look like, okay? Because I could talk about this for a long time. I could really talk about the makeup of this potential game for a while, okay? But we all know people's attention spans aren't long enough to even want to watch that. Even if it was the most amazing video on YouTube, bro, people, you know how it is on here, bro, okay? Hell, I don't even know if anybody made it to this point of the video. But if you did, thanks for listening. And ultimately, I just want a Percy Jackson game or an anime, a cartoon. I just want them to get proper representation in the media outside of the books, and I think a series of video games would just be a fantastic option. Now, if you are like me and you're a big fan of the series and you want this to happen, or you want to just at least bring awareness to it, definitely like this video, share it across any and all platforms, at the different developers you would like to see when you add them to this video, or just add them in general. Just add them and get the word out, get the awareness out. Let's spread this out, okay? Let's have this reach these different companies and show them that, hey, we want a Percy Jackson video game and we're willing to buy it. The money would be there, okay? Sales, I don't have any worries about what the sales could look like. It all comes down to just getting the word out there. So definitely at those companies on Twitter, mention them, things like that. Let's get this out there, okay? Other than that, though, I have nothing else to say. All right. Appreciate you for stopping by and watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'm out. Goodbye.